Should you get around Koh Phangan with a motorbike or a bicycle or a mix of both? I've done a mix of both and I'm going to tell you about it in this video. Stay tuned. Hey guys, it's Eric from Rising Nomad, and I want to tell you about the past 4 months of this experience living on Koh Phangan and having my main way of getting around for the first 2 months being bicycle and then buying a motorbike and mixing the two. So basically, I'm walking now because I've just dropped off my bicycle at a friend's place and I'm going to leave it there while I'm away because I'm leaving the island for a wonderful summer in Europe. And when I first came to the island this time, I wanted to do something different compared to what I had previously done in the year 2020 when I was here, and I was only using a motorbike to get around the island. And I wanted to try to see if it was possible to do it only on bicycle because, well, I figured it would be better for my health and of course better for the environment and also better for my sort of mood and all of that sort of stuff. So something happened 2 months into that journey. A friend was leaving the island and he was looking for someone to buy his motorbike, and I bought his motorbike off of him. And since then I've been mixing them. So I would say that I have a pretty good idea now of what the difference is, and I'll explain when I like to use both now that I have both. So first of all, I'll start by saying that most people on the island will actually choose just to use a motorbike because it just seems easier than getting a bicycle. And it's 95% of the people, I think. So when you see another bike rider and you're on a bike, we sort of nod at each other as we're passing by on the road because we're respecting the fact that we're doing something different that's better for health, better for the environment, and overall a different vibe that a lot of us feel better. And so for the first 2 months I enjoyed that, but I felt it was a limitation because, well, I was lucky enough to live in the area near the hospital, near Hinh Kong Bay, and be on the place where between the 2 points of basically almost all the way to Ha Drin and almost all the way to after Sri Tunnel where the stuff starts going up and down. If you stick to the middle road, you can go on pretty flat surfaces the whole way and not have to go up any hills which are tiring on your endurance. Now, the biggest issue is sweat. The biggest issue, I mean, even on this walk, I'll probably get sweaty because it is over 30 degrees in a tropical climate. And that's just what it's like here, folks. And so basically you have to be prepared to sweat even more than you would usually if you want to ride a bicycle. And what this means is something simple like changing your clothes when you get to a place. You know, if you're on the bicycle, I mean, this can apply to basically anybody in any situation here on the island. It's good to always carry a change of clothes so you can shower. Lots of places have showers you can use, pools you can jump into, and the ocean is often nearby. And it's not that hard to actually freshen up when you get somewhere if you get sweaty on a bicycle or a motorbike. It's possible to get really sweaty on the motorbike just from the sun, which you can see beaming down on me right now. So lots of people oppose the idea of having a bicycle, making that their main mode of transport because, well, they're going to get sweaty, it's going to be exhausting, and especially if they want to go places up and down hills, it's going to be just exhausting. And that's all true. Basically, it's all true. But I actually really enjoyed every Sunday around 1 p.m. I would go and I would get a pizza at Loco's Pizza Bar. And what that essentially meant is that I would have to go past Sri Tunnel and go up and down 3 or 4 times up and down these hills to get there. And yeah, you get really sweaty, but then I would go and dip in the ocean and basically then it would be fine. So every time I would go up and down the hill 3 times to get to Loco's Pizza Bar. And it's just so exhilarating. It was a great way to spend the Sunday, sort of a day where I don't really commit to meeting anybody or doing anything, just take my time and ride my bike, maybe do 30 kilometers every Sunday. But it occurred to me that basically not everybody would want to do that all the time. And once I got a motorbike, I didn't want to do that all the time. I didn't want to just go and take my bike everywhere once I had the option to use the motorbike that I bought. And I think most people would feel the same if they had both at their disposal, and there would be sort of a tendency to default to motorbike. And I kind of experienced this, but yeah, I mean, especially for those like this time of the afternoon, you know, it's almost like, or it's like 11 in the morning right now and the sun's really hot. And if I were to ride the bike now, it's pretty much the peak of the day. It would be the most exhausting. And one time one Saturday, I went all the way to Hadrin and back. And basically, I had sunstroke after the next day. I didn't really want to move. It was so exhausting because of the sun. So there is that, folks. And the next thing you really should know about having a motorbike in Koh Phangan versus having a bicycle in Koh Phangan is the issue of safety. Now, which do I think is safer in general? I'd say that having a bicycle is safer in general because, well, there's just so much less that can go wrong when you have a bicycle versus a motorbike, this heavy thing that's just propelling you at pretty strange speeds. And you hear all the time about people dying on the motorbike in Thailand. It happens a lot. And you see all the time around the island people who have bandages. And you see lots of people who can barely walk because they fell off their motorbike. And you really have to be well advised of the danger of this and know what the problem is. The problem is that people here don't know how to ride bikes safely. We don't get checked whether we have a license, proper license to operate it, proper training. They just give them to us, basically. And so if you're good at figuring things out yourself, then figure it out. Figure out how to be safe. But the same goes for a bicycle, but a lot of us are coming from places where we've had a lot more experience with the bicycle rather than the motorbike is something new for us. So let's break it down. Which did I have in the 4 months, 2 months only bicycle and then 2 months mixed? Which did I have more accidents on? And the answer is actually on the bicycle. I fell off my bicycle twice, and but the injuries didn't require hospital treatment or anything like that. So in the end, it was pretty okay, right? I fell once on my shoulder when the handlebar slipped out of my hand, and when I was stopping somewhere, I slipped on some sand and fell on my wrist, and both of them were just minor injuries, minor soreness that didn't really impact me that much. I mean, they impacted my exercises a bit, but it was no big deal. But the people who do have motorbike accidents, talk to them. They're really shaken up. They're really afraid. And the thing that it usually is sand on the road. Lots of people complain about this. It's a danger both to bicycles and motorbikes. And I think it's kind of, yeah. Oh, here's something people do. Right now you can see this sort of three-wheeler that's passing by me. I hope you saw that. But basically, like a lot of people get these three-wheel sort of tricycle things, or a two-wheeler with two wheels added on the back, which makes it a lot safer to ride. And you see lots of women with children, for example, on those. And I think that's a really good sort of thing to get if you're not sure that you know how to properly ride a motorbike and not fall over. Get one of those. They go a lot slower and they're a lot safer. But yeah, sand on the road. Are you really gonna complain about sand on a tropical island? Listen to yourself. Because every time it rains, essentially what happens is sand gets pushed onto the road. You know, from these fields, they flood, and you know, then sand from everywhere basically gets on the road, and you have to be very careful. I haven't had any problem because I've heard so much about sand, people falling, it's dangerous, that as soon as I see sand on the road, I take my hand off the throttle, maybe brake a bit, and make sure that I'm going through the sand at a reasonable speed and not gonna actually like tip over, because lots of people do, folks. Lots of people do. So yeah, both are really dangerous. Thailand has some of the most dangerous roads in the world. according to the statistics and anecdote, and basically from what you can confirm by seeing how many people are bandaged up and looking at the statistics. And so it's really important to just take it easy, whichever you do. With the bike, you have to constantly watch your back, look behind you, and sort of avert away from things on the side of the road, like food trucks, children, stray dogs, old grannies walking around confused. So every time you have one of those on the side of the road where you're doing, you have to sort of like go over. And before you go more into the road to pass them, you need to make sure that there's nothing behind you. So you're constantly watching your back. You can get a mirror, I suppose, but it's better to just take a quick look like this, and then you'll be safe. And with a motorbike, you have the advantage of numbers, meaning that there's a lot more motorbikes on the road. See, you haven't seen a single bicycle pass by me, but you've seen all these bikes pass by me. Both are super dangerous, but you're not going to be able to walk on this island. So a lot of people who are really safety conscious, they end up getting cars here. And, I support them completely. I feel I'm fairly competent at operating the vehicle safely, and even, I might have an accident sometimes. But, ultimately, what it boiled down to with my routine is what I would want to do when I woke up in the morning was ride my bike. Go out before it's too hot and get to Tongsala, one of those cafes like Nira's or Dots or Indigo, and get a coffee there. And just going there, you start to feel energized. The coffee, of course, makes you feel real awake. And then if you really want to have more exercise on the way back and get some serious exercise, I was going back on the shore road, the coastline road, where there's all those hills. And so then you get back with a sweat. But otherwise, I would use the bike for stuff like that and short trips around the flat areas. But for anything I needed to do in the middle of the day, get done quickly, with lots of cargo, like picking up groceries and stuff like that, I would usually, after I bought the motorbike, do it with the motorbike. And definitely, not all the roads here have street lights and stuff like that. In the evening, it's much better to use the motorbike. Although, I did sometimes go out on my bicycle in the evening, and it wasn't that bad. But I would say you need to do a lot more watching your back on the bicycle, because people expect it a lot less than motorbikes. And it's really super important to have safety in your mind at all times. I never wore a helmet in my bicycle because I didn't feel that it was necessary, but most of the time, at least for longer journeys, I would wear a helmet on my motorbike, whereas you see a lot of people who don't. And I don't know, if you feel you can stay safe and do it, do it. I'd not wear a helmet. But if you want to be safety conscious, wear a helmet on both of them. I don't know. So ultimately, I feel that this island is a great place to do both, and that both are super hot because the island is super hot, and the heat is not something you can escape here when you're out in a motorbike or bicycle. And definitely carry a spare change of clothes when you go on your bicycle. If you're going places where you're meeting people, when you get sweaty, maybe carry a towel to jump in the ocean, dry yourself off, put on a fresh t-shirt. You will not regret it. And ultimately, as a lifestyle thing, if you're health oriented, you should have a bicycle. And if you want to also have a motorbike, you can do that too. But I'm really happy in the end that I chose to do both of them. And I chose to have both in my arsenal of how to get around the island. And it's a great place to just go around and see all the beautiful scenery. And whichever you are on, I hope you do not have any accidents and that you keep safety in mind at all times. So thanks a lot. This has been Eric from Rising Nomad, Koh Phangan. The year is 2022. and I will see you later. Bye guys.